All right, everybody. Good morning, and thanks for attending the fireside chat with Data Visual. And we're here to talk about the Barco Clickshare product. As a guest speaker today, we have Tony Martorino, who's the account manager for Barco. He's an expert on wireless conferencing solutions. And just a little bit before we get started with Tony, just a little bit about Business Hub. Business Hub is a company in Canada that's basically a sales agency. We represent a number of different technology stacks as well as technology products. We can provide small businesses to enterprise level with wireless conferencing solutions, UCaaS products, and CRMs, as well as products for your CNC machines and managing your production control. Thanks, Tony, and over to you.
Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks for having us here. My name is Tony Martorino. I'm the Business Development Manager for Barco Clickshare products within Data Visual. A little bit about Data Visual. We are a sales and marketing distributor of about just over 30 lines of commercial audio-visual for your meeting spaces and boardrooms. And we're located in Ottawa. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Clickshare Conference from Barco, which is a fairly new product which helps you gain some digital flexibility and help you plan out your strategy for what your meeting spaces look like when your people return to the office. 2, 1. I'm here to talk to you today about digital flexibility and how you can bridge your AV and your UC as part of a strategy for how you get your people back into the office and using your meeting spaces, and leverage the fact that you deployed everybody with a laptop and more than likely with a UC client, and how we can bring that into the meeting space in a cost-effective manner and help you create more video-enabled meeting spaces and really develop a strategy for that return to the office. Just taking a little look at where we're at today, obviously a lot of people are still working from home offices. This is nothing new, but there's a couple of things I'd like to point out to you. The fact that we saw a great deal of digital transformation last year. In fact, according to Microsoft, we went through about 2 years of digital transformation in just 2 months. So very rapid change. And the fact that now everybody is video conferencing, I think you could agree that in the past, before the pandemic, about 1 to 2 meeting spaces out of every 10 were dedicated to video conferencing. So not very much. It was a bit of a premium. It's costly, or it was costly. So there weren't too many meeting spaces that were video enabled, but now that we've all been working off of our laptops and having these hybrid meetings, we're working with video every day. So video conferencing is now a must-have. It's the norm, and it's not really something that's going to go away. So how do we incorporate that into the return to the office? If you look at the growth of UC&C platforms like Teams and Zoom, and when I say UC&C, I mean Unified Communications and Collaboration. It's such an explosion of their usage, and every day we're looking at about 75 million active users of these platforms, and a good 2/3 of them are interacting, collaborating with content every single day. So already we've seen some very large global organizations come out and say that they're going through a culture shift right now in how their people work. They're recognizing that work is something they need their people to do, not necessarily be a place that they go. So in order to mitigate any future pandemics or any waves that we go through and not have any disruptions to the business, they're going to outfit their employees with the tools that they need to basically work from anywhere. And those tools would be, of course, laptops and UC clients on those laptops. And this will allow them to work from anywhere, have meetings anywhere, and have those hybrid meetings that we're going to talk about, and basically get the work done. And if we can work from anywhere, that means that we're going to make sure that there's no disruption in business. But what does this look like? Well, Gartner's already said that within the next 3 years, actual in-person, the old-fashioned way, in-person meetings are going to drop from 60% down to 25%. And that's really driven by remote work and changing workforce demographics like we've just been talking about. So what's going to happen? We're going to be having a lot of hybrid meetings. And hybrid meetings are basically just like what we're having right now. We're having face-to-face meetings, but these meetings are enabled by audio and video conferencing technologies like we're using today. And that means that we could take a meeting from the office, or we could take meetings from our home offices, from a coffee bar, or from an airport terminal waiting to take a flight. It means that we're going to still be able to meet face-to-face and get the work done. So really, these changes force a new look at how organizations enable collaborations, because their offices are going to require more video-enabled meeting spaces to allow participation from remote workers. Eventually, we're going to see some of the people returning to offices, some people staying working from home, some people will remain working from their home offices permanently. So how are we going to keep up that communication? We're going to have offices that have these video-enabled meeting spaces. And here's a perfect example of one of them, and I will show some other examples later, but this is a very non-traditional meeting space, and you're seeing these pop up more and more, where instead of a boardroom table with chairs around it, we have couches and chairs and a coffee table and a more relaxed setting. And you're going to see more and more of this. The question is, what kind of technology goes in there? So according to Barco, the solution when people return to the office is BYOM, and that really stands for Bring Your Own Meeting. And when we say bring your own meeting, we mean bring your own laptop. So the laptop that was deployed to you prior to the pandemic, or during the pandemic, is the device that you've been working on pretty well 8-10 hours a day for pretty well a year now. So what does this mean? It has all the tools that you require on there. It has your logins and security. As well, it has the most important thing is it's the user experience that you're comfortable with. So it just makes sense that when we return to the office and we start using these meeting spaces, we bring the laptop in there and it becomes a central part of the technology in there. So really, this is where Clickshare Conference shines, because it's conferencing that's made simple and wireless and agnostic. And when I mean agnostic, I mean it's triple agnostic. This technology will work with any laptop your organization has deployed, any operating system, as well, pretty well any conferencing platform that is available. And you can see 4 of the big ones out there, Teams, Zoom, Skype, and WebEx. But it's been tested with about 16 or 17 different conferencing platforms. And it works with just about every USB peripheral on the market out there. So it really is triple agnostic, that it will not force your organization to make a major pivot away from any of your AV or IT decisions that you've been making so far. And really, how does it work? For those of you that are familiar with Clickshare, Clickshare Conference really exists of a base unit as well as a button or a dongle. The buttons or dongles are effectively transmitters, and they plug into the USB port in your laptop, and the base unit will typically reside behind a display or in a credenza below the display, or in an AV rack that's close by. And you can see a 3D shot here of what a typical meeting space with Clickshare Conference looks like. And here you have the base unit, and you have a USB video camera and USB audio system at the front of the room. And you can see somebody here is controlling the meeting with their Clickshare button plugged into their laptop. There are other people that are a part of the conversation here and are connected to the Clickshare, either using the button or using a host of applications, because yes, this product is BYOD compliant, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's look at the 3 different models that are available for Clickshare Conference, starting at the CX20 with a Canadian suggested retail price of $25.99, going up to the CX30 at $32.75 Canadian, and the CX50 at just under $4,000 Canadian. As you can see, there is one button model of the Clickshare Conference, and there are two button models. And I'll describe some of the features a little more in detail in the next slide. But there's something here I'd like to highlight to you, and that is this ISO 27001 certification. That badge represents Clickshare, and actually Barco as an organization is ISO 27001 certified. They're the only wireless conferencing and conferencing and presentation technology available on the market that has that certification. So a lot of big business, definitely high finance banks, and certainly government they look for that kind of certification, and Barco Clickshare is the only one that has it. So a little more in-depth look at the feature set for the 3 Clickshare conference models. I'm not going to show you or talk about them line for line because it's something that you can look up in your own time. But there are a couple of things I'd like to highlight here. First of all 3 models are 4K UHD presentation resolution, so they're 4K capable. The CX20 and 30 both have 2 USB inputs for those USB peripherals, and the CX50 has 4 USB inputs as well as an HDMI input. That model would typically be for more larger meeting spaces, training facilities that require more AV integration in them, more USB peripherals in that room. And an HDMI input is always great for something like a digital signage feed, or if you have a static PC that's in that meeting space that you also want to loop through the Clickshare and have one of the options to switch to. Like I said, all of these models are capable of BYOD. So that means that if somebody comes into the room and wants to present wirelessly, they have the choice of using the Clickshare button, or they can use a host of applications that are available, such as AirPlay, Google Cast, Miracast, as well as the Clickshare Collaboration App. So that means that if you come in with an Android phone or an iPad, you can still connect to the Clickshare and do your presentation. For those organizations that use interactive flat panel displays for annotation and whiteboarding, or like to use your finger on the display at the front of the room as a mouse, there are 2 models that can connect to those displays. That is the CX30 and the CX50. As well, I'd like to highlight that all of these models have a 5-year Smart Care warranty, so you get great protection pretty well for the life cycle of the product, something that you can have complete confidence in. So really, how does it work within the meeting space? Well, there's 3 easy steps. You walk into the meeting room with your laptop, you connect your Clickshare button to the USB port, and you start your call on Teams or Skype or Zoom or whatever UC platform you're using, or you start your presentation within that room. It's really that simple. So what does this mean for your organization? It means that there's a very high user adoption rate. And it means that your meetings start on time, which is a source of frustration for many people that use technology in meeting spaces. And that means that it's going to be less of a burden on your IT department to support it. So what does this really fix? So normally, if you do a hybrid meeting with a laptop, you would walk into a boardroom and put your laptop on the boardroom table, and you would open it up and start a call with one of your remote offices or perhaps one of your customers. But what that's going to do is it's going to capture mainly just the person in front of that laptop. The audiovisual components of that laptop are just meant to pick up whoever's in front of it. So if you have people to the left and right of you, they're probably not going to be seen, and they're most likely not going to be heard very well. So that will create a source of friction or frustration for the people on the far end. So once you start including high quality USB peripherals like an audio system, a microphone and speakers that are external, they can pick up the people that are in the room, as well as a high quality HD USB camera that will capture everyone at the boardroom table, or at least everybody within the meeting space. Then the people on the far end are going to have a much better experience, and they're going to be more invested in the meeting, and you're going to have better interaction. As well, it solves the issue of tabletop cables. We've all seen meeting room tables that look maybe as bad as this, hopefully not. But there are some people out there that still don't know the difference between a USB cable and an HDMI cable, so that could be a source of friction and frustration. As well, cables break, they go missing, and they are a tripping hazard if you're just running cables on the top of the table and on the floor to the front of the room. So that's kind of an issue with HR, because that's a tripping hazard and they don't want to have that. So you solve all the issues of the cables because we're going wireless and secure with the Clickshare button, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to show you a little bit more about the Clickshare button, because some of you may not have seen or used Clickshare before. This is what the button looks like, and for Clickshare Conference, it's only available in USB-C. So if you have laptops within your organization that don't have USB-C, I put a picture here of backwards compatible adapters that take you from USB-C to USB-A. They're very inexpensive and readily available from pretty well any source. So don't worry about the button just being USB-C. How fast does this connect and allow you to start your meeting? So the button will connect with the base unit behind the display. in about 6 or 7 seconds or less. So it's very fast and it's very secure. And how do you know when you have that connection is because there's a ring around the outside of the connect button in the center, and that will glow white when you're ready to start your meeting or your presentation. And it'll actually do a countdown. It'll go from dark to light around the outside of the button and show you progress within that 6 or 7 seconds about how soon you can start your presentation or your meeting. You might have noticed there's a smaller button on there that's called a quick button. And that is actually kind of like a right click on a mouse. That gives you access to additional features such as pausing your presentation, window selection, moderation. In future, it'll be able to mute your microphone, your USB microphone as well. Those features are available in the button with that quick button, that secondary button in there, but they're also available within the Clickshare Collaboration App. And I mentioned that it's BYOD compliant, this technology. The Clickshare Collaboration App is something that Clickshare and Barco offer that is free of charge for you to use within your organization. And it's also a way for you to use other devices to connect to the Clickshare. But it's not mandatory. You don't have to use any applications. This product doesn't have to go on your company network. So it's just an option, free of charge. I encourage you to check it out. It's called the Clickshare Collaboration App, and it's available on the App Store and available on the Google Play Store as well. So moving along, I have a couple of meeting room examples of where you see this technology fit in here. And here's a perfect example of a small meeting room space, typically called huddle spaces now. And this is going to become more and more common as companies start to divide up larger meeting spaces into smaller meeting spaces. And here you can see it's just 3 people around a table here. And the Clickshare base unit in this case is in a credenza below the display at the front of the room. And the USB is connected to the USB peripheral here, which is an all-in-one sound bar with an HD video camera built into it. And an HDMI cable goes from the base unit to the display here. And the person controlling the meeting, excuse me, has the Clickshare button plugged into their laptop, and they control the meeting, and there are other people in this meeting connected to the Clickshare with other devices using applications. And the power of Clickshare is that it scales up very easily. So if you look at larger meeting spaces, such as this one, more people gathered around a larger table, you could use a very similar setup where all the USB peripherals, the AV is at the front of the room. But in this case, they choose to run one USB cable to the meeting room table, where they have a microphone and speaker pod in the center of the table to capture everyone's voices. And again, further scaling up a little more to a larger boardroom space, you can see that with a very long boardroom table, you still have the video camera at the front of the room and running one USB cable down the length of this table, daisy chained into speaker and microphone pods so that everyone can be heard. And once again, the person controlling the meeting has the button plugged into their laptop, but other people are connected to the Clickshare with various devices using either buttons or applications. So out of the box Clickshare Conference can be set up within a matter of minutes because it's not necessary for this technology to be put on your network. Is it designed for your network? Absolutely. For large enterprise, it is capable of integrating into your network, and it is very secure. But out of the box, like I mentioned, you do not have to have it on your network. So that means that you can take it out, set it up with USB peripherals connected to a display, and have a room up and running within minutes. And that means that you can deploy multiple video-enabled rooms in a very short amount of time within your organization, actually, and very cost-effectively without all those cable runs. But if you have any questions about the benefits of putting Clickshare on your network and what that looks like and what you can do with that, we'd be happy to, in a separate discussion, answer any of those questions, such as what are the implications to traffic, what are the security concerns, and does that help us support Clickshare? And absolutely, it does help you support Clickshare because if you're doing firmware updates once a quarter, which is about how often Clickshare comes out, it's conceivable with just a few Clickshare units in the organization to do it one by one with a USB drive. But as you deploy 10, 20, 30, 100 Clickshares within your organization, perhaps across the country, perhaps globally, it makes sense to start looking at putting Clickshare on the network so that you can start to push out those firmware updates on a quarterly basis, perhaps off hours when the rooms aren't being used. But also, it would be nice to get some analytics and look into how Clickshares are being used and also visibility to see if Clickshare units are offline or if they're having any support issues with them. Barco offers their own support program called XMS, and it is no charge to the client, and there's two different versions of it. You can spin up your own on-prem version of XMS on your own VM, or you can use their free cloud-based version, which allow you to support all of your ClickShares no matter where they are, and you can support them from anywhere. It's something that is very valuable if you have multiple ClickShares deployed within the organization, and it's something that should you choose to put ClickShare on your network, we can have additional discussions about it because it's quite an advantage to do that remotely. So Barco is very aware that it's not just about Clickshare Conference as a technology. They're reliant on the USB peripherals that they are connected to for the overall customer experience. So that being said, they wanted to make sure that the USB peripherals out there on the market work hand in hand with the Clickshare Conference and are basically plug and play and ready to go. That being said, they created what's called the Alliance Program, where they formed an alliance with most of the major USB manufacturers that are out there in the market. And what that means is they're starting to trade technical information on Clickshare and USB peripheral products with these organizations. And they're testing them and verifying that they're truly plug and play ready and they're certified to be working hand in hand with Barco Clickshare Conference. What does that mean for the end user? That means they have complete confidence deploying these USB peripherals with Clickshare, and that means that they don't have to do their own testing to make sure there are no issues with it in integration projects. So that's something that Barco does on their own and at great cost to the organization, but that gives you peace of mind as a customer to know that these products can be deployed with Clickshare Conference and be set up very quickly. If you'd like to know which brands and which products from those brands are part of the partner alliance and have been tested, you can go to the Barco website, and they have a validated peripheral section on the website where you can check any of those peripherals and definitely know which ones suit your organization before you deploy them in a project. So that's really what I had to say about Clickshare Conference today. I wanted to basically highlight where it fits in well with your return to office strategy with your employees and how you can leverage the fact that you've given everyone a laptop, probably have standardized on a UC platform on those laptops, and how we can integrate that in meeting spaces in the return to office and make sure they're all video enabled for the future. A couple of things that I'd like to highlight are the fact that we have demo programs for end users should they want to try out Clickshare Conference. All you have to do is contact your dealers such as Business Hub, and Dwayne can help sort that out for you. As well, we have evaluation units for some organizations as well. We're here to work with you. Data Visual as the distributor and marketer of and basically we are the only distributor of Clickshare products within Canada. We don't sell direct. We work with valued partners such as Business Hub. We're here to work with you and help you with your projects. So if you have questions before a project, during a project, or even on day 2 afterwards, we're here to support you. And we appreciate your interest in Clickshare Conference. Thanks, Dwayne.